Well, how much is too much when it comes to teaching kids about sex? Yesterday, the Herald Sun released information about a booklet endorsed by Victoria's Education Department that encourages 15-year-olds to brainstorm about sexual acts. And here to discuss the issue is creator of the Being Dad DVDs, Troy Jones, and child psychologist Kimberley O'Brien. Good morning to you both.
Good morning, Georgie.
Kimberley, if I could start with you. As confronting as it might be, most of us accept that children need to be educated about sex, whether it be at home or in the classroom. But does a booklet like this go too far, do you think?
When I looked at the booklet online last night, and I was actually taken aback initially because worksheet 12 gives some definitions about things as explicit as fingering, fellatio. It's just a lot of detail that I think in a classroom for Year 9 and Year 10 students is going to be comedy, traumatic, and just really inappropriate for the classroom.
Because, of course, the criticism is that we're potentially sexualising our children before they're even sexually active, before they're aware of these things. Is there a real danger of that happening?
I think there is, but then moving forward, I had a look online to see what do the kids actually need to know, what do they want to know. 88% of students surveyed in 2008 in Year 10 and Year 12 are actually, well, 88% want more information about sex and sexually transmitted diseases. At the same time, only a quarter of Year 10 students are sexually active, and then moving on to half of the Year 12 students surveyed was sexually active, which is a surprise to me. I thought it would be a lot less than that. So I guess if it's happening, we've got to really, we've got to deal with these things and give them the education they may need.
And for me, Georgie, like one of the big issues is almost the inverse of your question, like how much is too little? You know, basically for dads and for blokes in Australia, I guess the issue is denial and delay. I realise it's important. I'm just not going to talk about it today. We'll talk about it tomorrow, we'll talk about it later.
But it's not a reality, is it?
Well,
I mean, we have to confront it as hard as it is.
Well, I think the biggest issue for me is that it's important to start talking about these things, and dads play such a huge role, especially in the lives of their daughters, in terms of how they see men and how they see the world. And if the dad can be a little bit open in this topic and a little bit starting conversations in this thing and be a better dad and take the head out of the sand and actually be involved, they really can have such a massive impact on things. And my worry or my question is the reason that sex is such a powerful marketing medium because so many of us stick our heads in the sand and it becomes a taboo topic. If we start talking about it, introduce the elephant in the room, trust our kids a little bit and walk that fine line between protecting them but also enabling them to be the next generation of people making good decisions and fixing up all of our problems, the environment and the economy. We can't just have competent little people. We need people to think outside the box, be aware of the issues, be confident in themselves and fix our problems.
Troy, you make a lot of sense. Kimberley, as a mother and a psychologist, when do we start those conversations? Is Troy on the mark that it's never too soon, essentially?
I think it needs to start early. It needs to be really following the child's lead. So when the kids are asking questions, using the appropriate terms for genitalia, as well as just following their lead. So I think from a young age it's really important to have that relationship going, and also again to look at the statistics around abortion and teenage pregnancy between 15 and 19 years. Australia is actually in the top 3 in the world. So just because we're not talking about sex doesn't mean that it's not happening. So it was a wake-up call to see the information in the survey, but I think it's something that we really actually do need to address.
I'm from South Australia, so it pains me to say I think the Victorian government's doing a pretty good job on this one. I think it's actually being risky and brave and putting themselves out there, where we see so much of the politics today. It's a lot safer to do nothing or say less. Actually quite a brave thing, and I think it's the fact that we're talking about it is a really important thing.
And as parents, we've got to be on the front foot, haven't we? We can't just leave it to the educators.
And so often we're not. So often we're not. So often we sit back and we'll deal with it later. While these kids are living it every day at school, they're facing choices.
Yeah, you both make a lot of sense. It's a topic that I think probably warrants more discussion, and hopefully we can do that down the track. Thank you both for being here this morning.
Thank you, Georgie.
Thanks, mate.
There you go, Cam. Interesting for all of us, I think.
Yes, and any parent has to consider those issues very carefully. Thank you very much, Georgie.